Literature with Purva. In this video, we are going to learn about a few more literary devices such as oxymoron, paradox, juxtaposition, chaismus, diacope, hyperbole, and irony. In the last video, we discussed about simile, metaphor, alliteration, allusion, anaphora, antithesis, allegory, and conceit. I hope that video helped you, and in this video we are going to discuss about few more literary devices that are widely used in English literature. So watch the video till the end so that you get to learn about the functions of all these literary devices. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Let us begin today's discussion with oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which two contradictory or opposite words are placed side by side to create a single term. Bitter and sweet, two completely opposite words, they are brought together to create the term bittersweet, which is an oxymoron. Other examples are cruel kindness, silent scream, beautiful tyrant, living death, virtual reality. You can find plenty of oxymorons in English literature. Now you may be wondering, how is antithesis different from oxymoron? In the last video we talked about antithesis, in which two contradictory ideas are put together in a single sentence. Speech is silver, silence is gold. This is an example of antithesis. Whereas in oxymoron, two words, opposite words, are placed side by side to create a new word. Bittersweet, cruel kindness. So I hope now you understood the difference between oxymoron and antithesis. Now let's talk about paradox. Paradox is a seemingly absurd statement that seems to contradict itself. If you read it at the first glance, you may find no truth and no logic to it. But if you dig deeper or if you think a lot, then you will find that there is truth and logic to it. Let's take a look at a few examples from English literature. Wordsworth has said, "Child is the father of man." This is a classic example of paradox. At the first glance, the statement seems so confusing, but there is truth to it. How? Wordsworth has tried to say that all our childhood experiences shape the person we become. Therefore, he said, child is the father of man. Then, in George Orwell's Animal Farm, there is a line, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Another example of paradox. What does it mean? It means that although government says that everyone should be treated equally, but some people are treated with a lot more benefits. They are given many more favors owing to their status and position. So he said all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Another example of paradox is from Hamlet, where Hamlet uses the line, "I must be cruel to be kind." Now Hamlet is talking here about his mother Gertrude, who has married his uncle Claudius. So he says that he needs to take revenge by killing his uncle. So his act may be cruel, but he is doing this to save his mother, to be kind to his mother. So he uses the line, "I must be cruel to be kind." Now you can ask, why is paradox used in English literature? Readers gain a lot of pleasure when they can decipher the hidden meanings in a literary work. Therefore, writers use paradox to give reader this beautiful feeling. Let's move to the next literary device, juxtaposition. Juxtaposition is a literary device where two contradictory ideas, concepts, or elements are placed close together so that the author can highlight the differences between them. For example, the author shows a wealthy person's mansion and a poor cobbler's home. This juxtaposition serves to show the differences in the quality of living of the wealthy person and the poor cobbler. In English literature, we can find a classic example in Paradise Lost, where there is a juxtaposition of hell and heaven, God and Satan. Let's talk about the next literary device, Chaismus. Chaismus is a literary device in which words or phrases are repeated in reverse order. For example, John Keats has said, "Beauty is truth, truth beauty." So the phrase "beauty is truth" is repeated but in reverse order. Then, "Never let a fool kiss you or a kiss fool you." Live simply so that others can simply live. So, live simply, this phrase is repeated but in reverse order. So, these are a few examples of Chaismus. Now, let's look at Diacope. Diacope is a rhetorical device in which there is a repetition of a word or phrase with a few words in between. A classic example is from Hamlet, the line, "to be or not to be." So you can see the phrase "to be" is repeated, but there are a few words in between. Then this line, "free at last." Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. So "free at last," this phrase is repeated again with a few words in between. Then, "oh my heart, your pain makes my heart hurt." My heart. These two words are repeated again after a few words. So these are a few examples of Diacope. Now let's look at the figure of speech hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement that should not be taken literally. Such overstatements are used in English literature to provide humor to the literary work. Few examples are, "I am so hungry I can eat a horse." Now you can understand, right? This sentence should not be taken literally. Then, "your skin is softer than silk." "He runs faster than the wind." So all these statements are exaggerated statements that should not be taken literally at all. So these are few examples of hyperbole. Finally, we have come to the last figure of speech for this video, irony. Irony is a figure of speech in which words are used in such a way that the intended meaning is completely different from the actual meaning. Now there are various types of irony: verbal irony, situational irony, and dramatic irony. Let's first look at verbal irony. Verbal irony is when the words that are used mean completely different from what they seem to be. For example, in Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, in his speech, says, "Brutus is an honorable man." He gives a speech after Julius Caesar's death. And again he repeats, "Brutus is an honorable man." But he does not mean it. So words that he uses, he doesn't actually mean those words. So this is a classic example of verbal irony. He is repeating those words again and again to make the people understand that no, Brutus is not an honorable man. So this is a classic example of verbal irony. Situational irony is when you expect something and the complete opposite happens. In life, if you come across a marriage counselor filing for divorce, you can say that this is an example of situational irony, because you are not going to expect a marriage counselor having problems in his own marriage. In English literature, you can find a classic example of situational irony in O. Henry's story, The Gift of Maggie. So there is a poor couple who love each other a lot. The wife sells her beautiful hair to a wig maker so that she can gift her husband a chain for his pocket watch. She is shocked to know that her husband has sold his pocket watch so that he can gift her a new set of combs for her beautiful hair. So this is a classic example of situational irony. The most interesting type of irony is dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is when the audience or the reader knows what is going to happen or what is happening, but the character in the play or the novel does not know that. For example, in Othello, the audience knows that Desdemona is innocent, but Othello does not know it. The audience knows that Iago is scheming for Othello's downfall, but Othello does not know it. Then, in Oedipus Rex by Sophocles, we the audience know that Oedipus has killed his own father and has married his own mother, but Oedipus is not aware of it. Othello and Oedipus Rex presents dramatic irony beautifully, where we the audience know what is going to happen, what is happening, but the main characters are not aware of it. So that's it for today's video. If you found the video helpful, then do like it and share with all your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. In the next video, we are going to complete this series of discussing literary devices. We are going to discuss a few more literary devices such as imagery, personification, onomatopoeia, metonymy, and many more. So stay tuned to Learning Literature with Purva. Thanks for watching.